Recap what happened to you.
Right. So, well, I worked for what's called a book packager. I wrote children's novels, which they kind of what they do is they plan it, they create the characters, they create the worlds, and they create the plot, and then they put it out to a writer to write the whole thing. Now, I was one of a team called the Erin Hunters, who wrote animal fantasy for this company. And Erin Hunter, who doesn't actually exist, but is several authors, wrote books about cats, dogs, African wild animals, and I was one of them. I was one of them writing Brave Lands and Survivors. Now, I'd done that since about 2011. Um, I was really good at my job. I was popular as a writer. I was also the face of Erin Hunter on tour in the States. So I would go out to the States once or twice a year and promote the books. And that was pretty successful as well. So the company never had any problem with me, right?
And this was a full-time position.
This was pretty much full time. This is what I did as a writer, like especially in the last few years. It was basically my main and only writing job. So anyway, they also knew my views, by the way, about everything because they all followed me on Twitter, right? So bear that in mind when I tell you what happened, because in 2020, you'll remember as well, Nick. First of all, well, there was the whole fuss when J.K. Rowling kind of came out. She tweeted something, pretty sensible. It was just a rational tweet. It wasn't hateful or anything, and it was just saying, you know, dress however you like, sleep with whoever you like, but don't throw people out of a job for knowing what a woman is. Certainly, that's the paraphrase. And I had to come out in support of that, but actually, I'd supported gender critical issues, as we call them, for at least a couple of years before then, at least a couple of years. And a friend of mine called Rachel Rooney, who's also a children's writer, she had written this absolutely beautiful, kind of heartwarming picture book called My Body Is Me, which was intended to encourage children of all kinds to appreciate the bodies they were born in, to know how important they were, and that they were their body, and they should look after it, they should appreciate it, and be proud of it. For this appalling crime, she was monstered, not by an online mob, okay, not by anonymous trolls, by a particularly nasty clique of children's writers who've kind of set themselves up as the morality police of children's publishing. She was so upset by this, she was basically driven out of children's publishing. Now, when that happened, I tweeted in support of her. I said I was shocked at the behaviour of these writers and publishing people. And then it went quiet. And then I tweeted in support of J.K. Rowling. I added the hashtag I stand with J.K. Rowling. Again, quiet for a couple of weeks, but that was the blood in the water. And 25th of June, I woke up to a couple of hostile tweets, blocked, moved on, as you do, and then it snowballed. And for 24 hours, I was the target of an online mob. Rape threats, death threats, you name it. It was constant. It was Twitter restricted my account at one point because I was getting so many notifications. And got to sleep about 5 in the morning because it was a pretty horrible experience, as you'll know, Nick. Was woken up at 9 again by my agent on the phone because, of course, a lot of these anonymous trolls had contacted A, the packager that I worked for, and B, the publisher who published the Erin Hunter books. And they were demanding I be fired. And working partners said, well, consult with HarperCollins. And at 2 p.m. UK time, which was 9 a.m. New York time, HarperCollins office opened and I was fired on the spot. Absolutely on the spot. So no kind of, they didn't contact me to say, what's your side of the story, what happened, explain yourself, none of that. I was out.
That sounds to me as if that decision had already been made. They were just waiting for the New York office to open, but that decision had already been made.
I think it was a pretty foregone conclusion among many of them, put it that way. Yes, It was HarperCollins who gave the final order. But, you know, I mean, I knew these people personally. You know, I'd met them socially. I'd worked for them for years. I'd considered most of them my personal friends. So I didn't expect to be let down and betrayed to that extent. Yeah.
I have a theory why they went for you and why they go for J.K. Rowling so hard and so nastily. And it's because they always thought you was on their side. If you'd have been a conservative voting, right winger, they expect that from you, and they expect it from J.K. Rowling. They would expect that, but because let's go back to J.K. Rowling, because she's always been a feminist, a left winger, always on their side. It's a bit like in a Muslim religion. When you leave the religion, it's then death to you. If you're not in our group, then you're going to be in no one's group because they feel let down. That's why they go after you so hard.
A sort of apostasy. Yes, it's sort of apostasy. Yes. And I mean, to be honest, I mean, I wasn't particularly left wing. If anything, I'm a centrist, veering right sometimes, left sometimes on other issues. I've never been kind of can I use the word non-binary?
Well, the fact you've used that phrase now will push this video up the ratings in YouTube. The algorithm will go, this is the sort of thing we want to push, non-binary.